What up, creeps? Welcome to episode 3 of CREEPSRUS. I am your host, Manny. Today I'm joined by some fantastic guests, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Susan.
I'm Karen.
I'm Dean.
And I'm Zack.
Hey, guys. So today I've gathered you, or maybe I should say I've conjured you. Yeah, thank you. So today I want to talk about paranormal activity. I hope I don't get sued by saying that. Something paranormal that maybe happened to you, happened to a close friend, a family member. So I'll let Susan go first if you don't mind.
Yeah. No, not at all. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Karen and I are gonna cross over a lot on this.
For sure.
Karen and I are sisters, and we grew up in Karen, would you call it like a haunted house? Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the house was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so the house that we lived in actually was built on top of a creek. So a creek flowed underneath it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It's
up on stilts.
Yeah.
And then the creek goes under. Okay. So there's a cave, and you would go into the cave and you could walk through the creek.
Yep. We totally did that way too much as kids.
It was cool.
Yeah, it was a cool house to grow up in. And there were so I had one entity specifically that haunted, in my room. My bedroom was the epicenter of the hauntings for this particular entity. But Karen had a whole other thing going on with her room that I actually just didn't really even know about until I knew that stuff happened to you, but not the specifics of it really, I guess.
So really quick, when you guys say that stuff was happening to you both, was it in the movies, where one runs to the other room and they're like, "Did you hear that?" And then something happens to the both of you guys? Was it like that, would you say?
There was one incident that I remember that Susan can tell you more about, where we were both in Susan's room and had an interaction with her entity. Mm-hmm. And then as far as my experiences go, there were times where stuff happened and I would run into her room because she's my older sister. I didn't tell her what happened. It was kind of just oh, I'm coming into your room.
Yeah, she would just come sleep in my bed for a little while and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
How old were you guys when this series of hauntings happened? Were you little kids or teenagers?
For mine, most of the stuff that I remember happened when I was junior high school. But the funny thing about my particular entity is that Karen and I one time researched it and figured out who it was who was haunting my room.
Just out of the movies.
You are brave.
So what happened was, the first week we moved into the house that we grew up in, there was a really bad motorcycle accident outside the house because we live in kind of a woodsy area with turns and the road is very windy. So a motorcycle coming down it just crashed. It flipped, and then the rider died. The crazy part about it is we found the body outside the house.
Oh, that's awful.
And I was 6 when that happened.
Dear Lord.
So, and Karen was 3. So there was what we did was we kind of researched surrounding that accident because we were pretty sure that the rider was the guy in my room.
Oh man,
my goodness.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my, so what's funny is now every time I go home, I say, hey, cause I'll walk in my room. Cause we still live in our family still lives in that house. So we'll go in and I'll be like, oh, hey, Eric, what's up? Cause his name's Eric. And Eric is he's very friendly. Nothing for me, the part that I struggle with explaining is that he didn't scare me so much as it was uncomfortable and startling. For Eric liked to play with the electronics in my room a lot. I think I told you guys this story right after we recorded the other night, where I had Christmas tree lights that I decorated my room with as a teenager. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I went to unplug them because I was like, that's weird. The lights are on. Why are they on? And I went to unplug them and they weren't actually plugged into the wall, but they were all on in the room.
That's so scary.
And then, yeah, it's scary. But at the same time, you're like, okay.
That was him figuring out he was a ghost. He's like, wait, I could do this?
I mean, kind of. That's kind of what it was. And then he always appeared as like this blue, misty orb thing that you would see. And then as soon as you turned, it would like disappear. So, but he was blue, which Karen explained to me because Karen's actually way more into this, like supernatural in general. So Karen explained to me that was a good sign that he was blue.
Oh, thank God.
Really?
Yeah, Karen.
A lot of times, like spirit guides or just benevolent spirits will show up as blue. Like you'll see a blue orb, or you'll just see like a flash of blue light. Like I see stuff like that all the time, and you just kind of assume that it's someone who's there that's good. Like if you see like a red flash, you might want to be a little more worried, or like a black shadow or something like that.
No, that sounds super scary.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I have a buddy of mine who always sees entities, but they appear as like black figures. Like if we're like driving down the street, he'll be like, "Oh, like I just
those are floaters." That guy has floaters.
Yeah,
just trying to lighten up the mood a little bit.
I don't know. Some people are just like really adept to seeing that kind of stuff.
And Karen is actually one of those people, so she should actually take over and talk a little bit about the stuff that happened to her that I knew nothing about. Because, like I said, Eric always just was very friendly. He would do things like he liked to play music in my room. Like you'd walk in the room and there was always music playing, even if there were no. I'm going to age myself. CDs in the CD player, like. You could open up the CD player and it would be empty and the music would still be playing in my room.
What the?
And the crazy thing is that he didn't always even do this at night. It was sometimes like in the middle of the day, which makes it a little bit easier to deal with because it's the middle of the day. The one time he really freaked me out was the night that I woke up in the middle of the night because all of the posters on my wall fell off the wall at the same time.
Nope.
My goodness.
You're getting out of there.
Yeah, I would have backflipped out of the room. And
I think I slept on the pull-out couch in the living room that night because I was just like, we haven't had beef before, but like, don't do that again, ever.
Yeah, he really wanted your attention that night, I guess.
I guess so. But yeah.
So Karen, that's pretty interesting. How would you say like you're on the level of what do they call it? Like mediums?
I wouldn't say a medium per se. I would say very sensitive. I have memories very young of experiencing things, and I still do. Susan even told me stories when I was younger about how I was like, oh, I saw Grandpa, and I would describe him to a T, and my grandfather was dead before we were even born. So there was no way that I could know what he looked like. A little background about myself, I consider myself a natural witch, and I've been a practicing witch since I was around 7 years old. And I don't know if the two are correlated, but I assume they are because one of the experiences that I had when I was younger was I would see this same entity in this one particular corner of my room. And I called her the Hag, which gives you an idea of kind of what she looked like. What I remember the most about her is that she had fingernails that were really long and sharp, like to a point. And if I slept with my back, like I slept in a bottom bunk, so I could sleep facing the wall and have my back to the room. And if I slept with my back to the room, I would wake up with scratches on my back, and I would feel her nail poke my back, and it would tense up my whole body, and it used to freak me the F out. And so that's when I would run into my sister's room. Like I would just cover my eyes and run. And if I slept facing the other way, the weird thing that she would do is I would wake up in the morning with a scratch all the way down the bridge of my nose, and it would just be red.
And our mom would constantly be like, Karen, where did you get that scratch?
Because I'm a nail biter, or I mean, I pick my nails now, but when I was a kid, I've never had fingernails my entire life. So there's no way that I could have done it to myself. My best friend used to like make a joke about the scratch I'd always have on my nose, but it was like, I would rather have the scratch on my nose than get poked in the back. So
yes.
I see a question at the bottom, so I'm just going to answer it. Did you gals, thank you, ever try to communicate with Eric with a Ouija board?
I don't mess with that stuff.
We don't do Ouija boards.
Yeah,
nope.
I don't play Ouija boards. You know, there's ways to get messages from spirits that don't open complete doorways.
Well, we did communicate with him a couple of times, specifically because he liked the electronics, so we would ask yes or no questions with the Christmas lights.
Oh, like in Stranger Things.
Can you flash them? Yeah.
Exactly like in Stranger Things.
Wow.
So when that happened in Stranger Things, I was like, I know that trick.
Yeah, we had a ghost in my house for years. When we first moved in there, our neighbors told us, like, hey, there's some weird shit that goes on between these two houses. And the guy who built the house, both houses like died somehow.
Oh my God.
And he like would go between the two houses, and his name was Al. And like, so like our like vacuum cleaners would come on, the lights would turn on and off, and my mom would always be like, Al, quit it, and then he would stop.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did the floors on our house maybe like, I don't know, like 10 years later after moving in, and nothing ever happened after that.
Oh, interesting.
It was the weirdest thing. It was like the floors were replaced and then he was just gone. It was wild. Yeah.
I can give an explanation for why that could have happened just from stuff that I've read.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of times like renovation stirs up activity if the ghost is upset about the surroundings changing. But in some cases, a renovation can stop it because if the surroundings change so much that the ghost is like, this isn't what I'm used to seeing, and then maybe he just went to the other house, or
so I don't know, because those people had moved out by then, so I don't know if he's only there now. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing. It just completely stopped after that. But
that's crazy because usually it's the opposite.
Yeah, I wouldn't like going downstairs by myself if it was like late at night. I like refused. And like even now when I go home, and it's like really late, because it's my dad's house. I don't live there anymore, but I'll go to like pick up mail. I like have my camera on or my flash, and I'm just like walking through the house, like, let me grab my mail and get the hell out of here, because it still creeps me out.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Jason Nelson says that he had something similar happen. He disturbed the house structure, remodeling the kitchen, and the spirit left that area. So
wow, that's crazy.
That's super interesting. I'd never heard that before. But
really quick. So when I was younger, I was like 8 years old. I would always sleep at my grandparents' house because my mom, she was a party animal and she would leave me with my grandparents. So we didn't really have like a dedicated like room for me. So she would throw a mattress on the floor in one of the rooms and, just hang out there. Well, I'll never forget this, but it was like 1 a.m. and my grandma, she was one of those that stayed up until 1:30, 2 o'clock, cleaning the house, washing dishes and stuff. Well, I knew that she was washing her dishes and I was laying there. I don't know what I was doing. I was 8. And I remember just looking to the side and I saw this little girl in a white dress. I'll never forget this. She was just a little girl in a white dress and she was staring at me. So I just looked at her and I'm like, who are you? Like, so I just stared at her. And then she walked away. So I got up really quick and I wasn't scared. I was just like, who is this? I've never seen her. Is she a cousin? I had a lot of cousins from Mexico all the time. So I follow her, but then I lose her. So I go to my grandma, she's washing dishes and I'm like, hey grandma, in Spanish. I'm like, grandma, who's that? Like, who was that? And she was like, what are you talking about? I never found out who it was.
Did she ever appear again?
No, I don't think so. But in that house, we did have another My grandparents called him the shadow because that's all they would see. So we know of the shadow and then the little girl in the white dress.
Oh my gosh.
Could be the same
Creepy.
thing.
Yeah.
Going along with Manny's shadow story. So my grandfather has a ranch, and it's like pretty secluded. Like to get there, you have to go to a small town, and then travel like 20 miles, and then go like 5 miles deeper into this like abyss. And his ranch isn't huge, but unfortunately, we had a family friend that passed away at the ranch. And it's always been a question of like, was it a suicide? Was it like an accident? But no one really knows. But for years since then, this is like a gated private ranch. People have always said that they've seen like shadows, like on the porch or, just throughout the property. And no one's ever really been able to explain it. And it's been like that for probably about 10 years.
Yeah, the shadow thing that you mentioned, like my grandparents, like it became a part of like just something that they would accept, if that makes any sense. Like, oh look, there's a shadow again, and it was like, as I got older, I was like, no. So like, I personally never saw the shadow, but they would say that he would walk around, walk in front of the house, and obviously the first couple of times that it happened, my grandpa would run outside, and they just never found out who it was.
Yeah, my friend Katie's house is haunted like that by like a shadow that would like play the piano. Or
Nope.
one time,
Play the piano? Nope.
yeah, like it was really creepy. In fact, we had a mutual friend who refused to ever go back to her house because it was like, I don't know, we were kind of young and we were playing, or I wasn't there, but they were playing like basically like an adult version of hide and seek.
Oh.
What does
We were
that
like
mean?
in high school.
Oh my
Okay.
god!
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I
don't know.
Is that like a
it's-
sexual joke or something?
No. Like,
Adult version of hide and seek.
We were young, but we weren't like children. It was like
Like
Oh,
you mean
you get
adult
hide and
hide
seek
and
for
seek?
like I don't
know what that
even
Apparently-
means.
Yeah, when you said the other way, I thought like sexually.
Yeah,
What happens
You
if
guys
they
are
find
perverts,
you?
that's why.
Yeah.
you gotta watch
No,
your back.
and,
You get it
he was
coming.
hiding. He was hiding.
Ready
in
or
the room
not,
with the
here I
piano. He was hiding in the room with the piano, and it just
I'm
started
sorry.
playing.
Oh my
No.
And he
god!
just like
Wow.
ran out of the
Oh
room.
my
He was like,
God.
I'm not going back in that house," and he just left. And he would never come over.
Hey, real
Um,
quick, Mario Cortez says, Manny, it was probably the kukui.
It probably was.
Yeah, Dean, we'll come back to your story really quick. But in my house, growing up, we always had one room that you did not go in because they would threaten you with the kukui. Oh, don't go in there, it's the kukui. So you'd have to run by, turn on the light in the restroom. Hopefully you grab it, then you can use the restroom. Because in the kukui,
What's a kukui?
I
Because
was
my
gonna
sister
say-
and I our family's from Hawaii, so kukui means a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mexican.
It's just like
I was gonna say, like The Outsider. Did you watch The Outsider?
I don't think I've seen that.
Okay, the Outsider is the Stephen King TV show. They talk about El Cuco. Is that the same thing?
No.
no.
Oh.
The kukui is just like in general, like the monster's gonna get you. Like
Oh,
they,
okay.
they really use that to like threaten, like
little
children
kids.
10 and
Gotcha.
younger.
Like get home instead of playing outside, or the kukui's gonna come get you.
Right.
So it was like an incentive to go home because the kukui will get you.
And then my family, they would basically stretch that word out to make it even creepier. So they'd be like, "Kukui," and it's like over your shoulder really quick, and you got to get home.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
A Mexican boogeyman, as Mario says.
Okay.
Gotcha.
yeah,
Cool.
that's a really good explanation.
But in Halloween, they can't call Michael Myers the Kukui, so they said the shape. So, anyways, go ahead.
So Karen, Susan, did your parents what did they think about these entities?
Well, I think
did they believe you
true.
guys, or was it just something you guys never really talked to them about?
I mean,
Go-
do you want? Okay,
You go.
Whomever. That's
Our
a very broad
dad-
question.
our dad basically believed everything we told him, like in this weird way that was just who he was. Like if you
It
told
was
him,
just like, okay.
yeah, if you told him there was a ghost in your room, which we each did, he was like,
Yeah.
all right. So what are you gonna do about it? Like that was like that's just what he was, and he was just
It's
that's
a very
just
dad
like,
reaction.
He's
Yeah,
like,
he-
look, guys, we got this house for a great price. There's a creek right under it. And we're just gonna have to deal with some shit.
yeah, he was like, because I remember telling him about Eric, and he was like, all right, there's a ghost in your room. There's lots. He was like, you've watched movies. There's lots of ghosts in lots of people's rooms. Like he was basically like, why are you special? Like, of course you have a ghost in your room. Like, okay.
So really quick, like when we start to look for a home, like I'm gonna be very suspicious if we get like an offer that's too good, like to refuse. Like I'm gonna have to ask, like, what happened here? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
who died?
why are you trying to get rid of this house so cheap?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and did you tell Dad about the hag?
No, I didn't tell anybody except my best friend at the time.
The hag?
I thought because of my spiritual practices that I have had ever since I could remember, as young as I was, I thought that she was kind of a product of that. And so I was like, well, I kind of just have to deal with this. But as I got better at my spiritual practices, she went away because I got better at banishing.
Ah,
Oh,
But we
so you can actually like
oh yeah, she totally can. But we
Yeah.
haven't gotten rid of
wheel
Eric.
them away.
I mean,
No,
Eric.
well, Eric's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, if he wants to move on, he can. I mean, if he wants to move on, just let me know.
Yeah, I mean, he's never done any. Like because that room is like my bedroom. I still sleep in it when I go home and visit my family, and like it's still the coldest room in the house. It's always freezing cold in that room, and
our house is cold anyway.
yeah, totally.
so
So it's crazy.
do spirits like the cold weather or like warm?
Well, water's a conductor of energy, so they would be able to manifest better, like manipulate the electricity and stuff better, I think, because our house is over the water.
Yeah.
And spirits, when they're there, it's cold, so they bring the cold with
Yeah,
them.
I hear that a lot. Like the temperature
Yeah.
shifts. That's how you like know if something's like around you.
I don't know, because my grandma,
It's if, like,
she didn't
the
have
temperature
AC.
dips.
We had central AC, but she never turned it on, and there was always cucuys in there. So I don't know.
Well, some types of entities are hot, so
Oh,
But you don't want those hot ones.
yeah.
that's why
Have you
Depends
guys-
on what
AC is
you're
68.
working with, but temperature changes in general would be an indicator
Yeah.
that there's something going on.
Have you guys ever tried to reach out to Ryan's family? Like maybe try to find them and
Eric's?
Who's
Or, I'm
Ryan?
sorry,
Yeah, I
Eric,
was like,
Eric.
who's Ryan?
Show some
sorry, there was
respect,
someone in the
dude.
chat that was I
I
had
was
to
about to
block because
say-
they were
Oh.
commenting some dirty things and their name was
Dude, Susan
Ryan.
and
Ew.
Karen, I'm so sorry for this guy.
Oh,
It's
I,
okay.
I can't see the chat at all. So
Oh no, I
Eric's coming
someone-
for you now because you said that.
oh no, please don't take that
No,
back.
he's fine. He's nice.
Susan, you should be able to hit live comments to see what
Oh.
people are saying.
Oh, do I want to though? Because look, you
Well, I
guys.
had to block it. This guy was
Yeah,
his username was 9 inches for your little booty.
I think
Oh.
that's
And,
Dean's personal YouTube. I saw him on his phone.
No,
Roasts.
I can only see like if it
Oh.
pops up, but I don't see like a stream of.
I see it.
I think on the phone, the phone
Oh,
doesn't have that
chat.
option. Oh, chat. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Go to comments.
Yeah.
So Dylan says
Okay.
he wants to see Zack.
9
jump in.
inches for your boot.
Oh my god. I do see
don't know
where
who
he
that
was
is.
blocked.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he commented like 40 comments,
Oh, that's
Oh,
and I just blocked, and they just all deleted at once. So
what. That's excellent.
Was he being funny or dirty?
No,
yeah, I
he's
was
being
like,
dirty.
He was just-
Of
like
course,
commenting a bunch of random. I mean, his username is 9.
Yeah, no, I get it.
troll.
Yeah.
Anyways,
hilarious.
that'd be wild if you were able to find your spirit's family and just say like, maybe they want to. I don't know. I mean,
Well, when we did the research and we found we found out about him, he had a fiance at the
Oh, wow.
time, and we did try because this was before the era of social media, really.
yeah.
So we did try to see if we could track the fiance down, but we never could.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess if we researched it now, we probably could track her down.
Yeah,
But-
Yeah, and I think it was a question of like, what do you even really say? Because this is like, there weren't cell phones. We would have called a landline. She would pick up, and we'd be like, "Hey, we live in a house that your fiance died in the front yard of.
Yeah.
What if like when the answering machine picked up, the static went all crazy, and he like left a message?
That would have been wild.
We're like, oh, here he
Dude,
is.
someone write
Like,
that
it's right
script
here.
right now.
One time we had moved into, we were helping my other grandma on my dad's side move into a new home, and we had all the boxes in the truck. So slowly but surely, we were all doing it. And I'm going to tell you my uncle's names because that part will come in handy later. So it was me, my grandparents, my uncle Jonathan, and my uncle Joel. So we're all moving boxes, and finally we take a little break. Well, my uncle Jonathan says, "Hey, I need to use the restroom really quick." Well, I don't know if he said that, but he went to the restroom. So we're there talking, me, my grandparents, and my uncle Joel, and Jonathan went to the restroom. So then maybe 5 minutes go by, and we're sitting by a door that my grandma wanted blocked off because we put some couches. So randomly, we're just talking, and we hear three loud, like someone, like when UPS comes to your door and they boom, 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 and then they just run off. I was like, so we all jumped, like, what the heck? So my grandma, she quickly said, "Jonathan, cut it out. This is you're gonna break the door." Well, as soon as that, Jonathan walks from the opposite side of the room where the restroom is, and he was like, "What?" So we were like kind of just staring at each other. Well, that night they made me sleep in the living room, and I was terrified. Well, the next day, I guess the landlord, she came by, and my grandma was like, "Hey, were you by here yesterday? Because someone was knocking on the door loud, like almost breaking my door down." And she's like, "Oh, that's probably my husband. He passed away a couple of years, and he likes to play jokes." I could not believe it.
Nope.
I was like,
Be moving out.
"Oh my gosh, yeah."
That's amazing. I love that. I like that she was just so like casual about it. Like, oh yeah, my husband passed away a few years ago. He likes to make jokes. It's cool.
Yeah, cool. Oh, you should have said that earlier.
Karen, I know you said you're pretty astute to these things. Have you had any entities that have followed you where you live now, or is it mostly just when you go back to your the house you grew up in?
Well, like the main one, I don't really deal with her anymore at all. I am very good about doing regular banishings. In fact, part of my spiritual practice is doing it daily. So I don't have things happen in my house, and I also do a yearly protective ritual to protect my entire property. And but I mean, I have other stories about me going places that are haunted.
Yeah, let's hear them all.
Things like her.
Well, yeah, I mean, they know who can interact with them, and so they tend to be more attracted to those people. I have two pretty significant ones that like I still think about the most. The first one was when I was in college. I went to college up in Northern California, and you could drive out to the bay. And me and my boyfriend at the time decided to drive out to this cliff where you could park your car and then look out at the ocean. And you were just on the top of the cliff. And so we were just parked looking straight out, like watching the sunset. And we were talking. And then as we're talking, we start to see these two figures come up from the cliff. And so we're like, okay, well, there must be like a trail there where people are hiking. But all we can see are like those iceberg plants that usually grow around like coasts. And we have them here in Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the figures draw closer to us, we can see that one of them has a red shirt, one of them looks like it's wearing a hat or like a baseball cap or something like that. But as they get closer, we realize that not only can we not make out any facial features at all, like it literally looks like their faces are scrambled, but they don't have any bottom halves. So it's literally two torsos coming up this cliff that look like it's wearing clothes. It's like kind of faded looking. And then as we study them further, we realize that where we are parked is a literal straight drop off, that there is no way that anybody could be walking up that cliff, and there's no trail, and these things are floating up the cliff. And so I was driving My boyfriend, who he was a very serious guy, grew up in a very strict Christian household. He would never admit to like seeing anything like this. He freaks out and he's like, drive. And so I just start my car and pull out and then drive. And it's a windy road. We go down for a while and then we kind of like pull off kind of in this driveway area. And then we get freaked out even more because out of nowhere, this guy like comes walking up to the car and he's like, go. And so we have these like two scary experiences where we don't know where this
like
guy
right back
came
to
from.
back.
Yeah. And then we're driving away. And so then I'm the type of person where I need to like talk through things. Like, I'm like, okay, what did we just see? Like, what did you see? Like, what's going on? And he like did not want to talk about it. And then if I tried to talk to him about it days afterwards, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened. But then I was like, well, then why did you freak out and want me to drive away so fast? Like,
Oh, wow.
so that's another like really significant one where like I can still like clear as day picture those things like coming up the hill. It was just, it gives me chills thinking about it.
Yeah. Zach, any other paranormal activity? What about in your place? Because you just moved in there a couple of years ago, huh?
Yeah, fortunately, I don't think that we've had anything weird happen. Knock on wood. You know, we have cameras in our house, and they all have motion triggers. So if anything happens, like, you know, I'm always worried one day I'll see my kid like looking at a wall for like 3 hours, like, you know, some crazy stuff like that. But no, I've never, as far as I can tell, I've never really, you know, noticed anything crazy. In our house, the only thing that's kind of odd is the smoke detectors go off every so often, but I mean, just researching those brands, like I could find like logical explanations for that, you know. But no, I have not ever, and it's crazy because we live in an age where, you know, those cameras are cheap and they, you know, I think like going forward, you'll have more and more instances of things like that caught on tape because,
Right.
you know, I mean, I bought like a camera for like $30 and it's full HD streams, like, you know, triggers alarms sent to my phone anytime anything happens.
Yeah, I
So.
love watching people upload their like garage footage of like shit that just walks by in the middle of the night and it's like unexplainable. Like,
When
Lee says
what
last
am
weekend
I looking at?
I almost
I
broke
was,
my back.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I got
Zach.
spooked out in the middle of the last show. I'm sorry, Susan. What were you saying?
Oh, when I was living in LA, a friend of mine came to visit, and she got a notification on her phone that like her camera had gone off, like inside her house, and she was like, she just froze, and we were doing like a Disney day, so in the middle of Disneyland, like at night, she just like froze, and I was like, what's going on? And she like turns around her phone to show me the camera, and there's this white swirl that's going like this around in her living room for no reason, and then it just stopped.
So when it comes to stuff like that, like I do love watching, like, you know, people catching the paranormal on film. But I think what's a little bit more scary is when it's like actually some like real person and they're just like trying to sneak around on your property. It's like,
I mean, yeah, that's that's worse. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like, if I don't know, just like I could just picture them. I just go back to Michael Myers. That's my guy. Like just like some tall guy wearing a mask creeping on you. That's so creepy. The thought of that.
Yeah.
A stalker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like stalkers.
Oh yeah, Dean doesn't like stalkers.
1911 by the bed, Manny. Just in case.
The what?
1911 by the bed.
Our guns. Yeah, I keep mine next to my bed.
I thought you said when you were 19 you turned 11. I was like,
yeah, I have no idea what
Benjamin Button in reverse.
Yeah.
Karen, I think you said there was another instance that really freaked you out.
Yeah, and this was this wasn't necessarily seeing anything. It was more a feel, like an experience, just a feeling that I had. So another incident up here in Northern California. Was in a town called Santa Rosa, and my husband and we decided to go out to breakfast at this place in like what's called Old Railroad Square. It's like an old part of town. and we went to this crepe place, and so we're eating, and like the longer we're in the restaurant, I'm getting more and more uncomfortable. Like it's hard for me to breathe, and the only way I could describe the feeling was it felt like I was being crushed. And like I even went so far as to I unhooked my bra because I thought my bra was like suffocating me, and that didn't do anything. And by the time like the bill came, I had not eaten any food. I just literally felt like I was dying. So I'm like, I have to leave. And so I walk out, and he gives me his car keys, and I go sit in the car. And the further I walk away from the place, the better I feel. And my sister and I are very much alike in that we like to know what's going on, and we want to do our research and things like that. So as soon as I got home, because I didn't have internet on my phone back then, I looked up Railroad Square and the history of it, and it actually crumbled in the 1906 earthquake, and lots of people were crushed and died in the area where I was eating breakfast.
Wow. So they wanted you to feel
That's crazy.
What we feel.
Oh man.
That's scary.
Jesus.
In the comments, Danny Lee asks, can we go back to Karen about those two beings/ghosts she saw on the hill? Were they glowing like in the movies, or did they look tangible like us?
What I remember about them was that I could see the colors of the clothes that they were wearing, but they looked blurry, if that makes sense. They were unfocused. If you move at the last second when you take a picture, and you get kind of that blurry effect, you can still see some things, but it's not defined. But I wouldn't say it was glowing so much but it was dusk, sunset. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would say it was glowing per se.
When you say that they were blurry, that reminds me of, I want to say it's The Sixth Sense, or I remember it from one of the scary movies where they showed the picture, and the picture, their face was twirled. I don't know, that always creeped me.
Yeah.
What horror movie is that?
I want to say, I don't know, but I know Scary Movie did the parody of it.
Uh-huh.
And they showed the face, and they were like, why is her face? Yeah, I know.
Oh, The Ring? Is it in The Ring where their face gets all twisted? Yeah.
Because it's after they see the tape, their face.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And on the last show, I was just talking about that. That terrifies me because something about elongated mouths and their faces that is terrifying. If I walked in my place and I saw that, I would probably go into cardiac arrest.
Yeah. You shouldn't watch Asian horror then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Horror has all those kinds of
Korean and Japanese horror loves to do that.
Yeah. What's the one where it's the American remake has Joshua Jackson in it, which is ridiculous. It's the one with the camera, and he
One Missed Call.
No, it's a camera, and his ex-girlfriend committed suicide, and she's standing on his back. So every time people take a picture, it's Shutter. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he keeps feeling heavier and heavier the whole movie. And every time they take a picture, she's more and more on his back.
Oh no, that's creepy.
That's creepy.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember I saw that, but I don't remember any details of that one. I remember watching the Japanese one.
Yeah, so, thanks to Jason Nelson for that one.
While we're on the topic of scary movies, let's dip into that really quick. What's your all-time favorite horror film? Obviously, you guys probably know mine. Maybe not Susan and Karen, but I'll go first. So Halloween.
I was going to say, is it What's on Your Shirt right now?
Yeah, well, this is the remake, but Halloween 78 is my all-time favorite just because it's so real. Someone can put on a mask and creep on me. They could be outside, That's my favorite. I get the chills. I love it.
Well, what about you, Dean?
Favorite? I don't like horror movies as a general rule.
And don't say Glitter from what's her name?
Mariah Carey.
No,
That's a scary movie.
No, I would say maybe Silent Hill.
I love that one.
It was
That's
a pretty
one of
good
my favorites.
adaptation. I enjoyed it.
I love it. one of my best friends would come over and just play the game, and I would just watch him play the game because it's better when someone who's good at it plays it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not playing it, but yeah, the movie is really cool. It takes.
Yeah, I love that one.
I want to say it's like my sister would know better, but I think they take like bits and pieces of like the first and second game. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but I just remember the movie was like, oh, that was pretty tight.
It's a great one.
Zach, you have a favorite horror movie? Now, notice the question. I'm asking favorite horror. There's another question after this.
Okay.
I don't really watch that much horror. I would say the most horrifying movie I've ever seen was Fire in the Sky. It's about the Travis.
aliens.
Yeah, that movie is freaking horrifying.
Wait, which one did you say?
Fire in the Sky, the one that we've talked about a few times.
Dude, I cannot watch that.
That is the
good
scariest
one.
movie I've ever seen. And it's not like demonic or like that, but it's just horrifying because I really think that could happen. Like I believe in aliens.
It
So
probably has.
yeah, exactly. It did happen to that guy. What about you
My
guys?
mom just
It's based on a true
popped
story.
in and said the entity is really scary. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I don't think I've seen that one. That one's newer, right?
I think so.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen that one. Is that a Netflix one? I'll watch it tomorrow, probably.
I'm not sure if it's if it's on Netflix. Susan,
yeah.
favorite scary movie?
The Shining.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
I'm a big
Respect that.
big Stephen King fan.
Has
Stephen
anyone
King fan.
else here seen Mandy?
Yeah. Wait,
Oh, that
no,
movie
no,
sucks.
no,
I
no,
don't know
no,
if I
not
would
Mandy.
consider
No.
horror.
I was thinking All
Oh.
the Girls Love Mandy Lane, or that slasher.
Oh, okay.
All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. Like that, I've seen that. I haven't seen Mandy.
I haven't seen anyone like I don't know anyone else that's seen that movie, but I don't know if I would consider it horror, but it's terrifying.
It's Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Like
haven't
the first
seen it.
half is such a weird like
Isn't he playing
what
Tiger
am I
King?
watching, and it's like really
Yes.
creepy.
Yeah, he's playing Tiger King.
God, worst
That
casting
show's
ever.
scary, too. No, I like that. So, okay.
Wait, we didn't get Karen's film.
Karen, yeah, Karen's
Oh,
film.
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
God damn it.
I'm
man.
a huge
Karen is
horror
gonna have a
movie
hard time
buff.
picking.
Oh, my
So,
gosh. She's my best friend.
So I like some of my favorite memories were watching the Universal monster movies. I love Bela
Oh.
Lugosi, love Boris Karloff, love Lon Chaney Jr. And then when I was around 8 years old, my dad was like, "Oh, you love Dracula? I'm going to show you this one called Halloween." And then I didn't sleep for like 2
Okay.
weeks.
I'm so
And-
glad he did that to you too, because you know what? You know which one he did to me when I was that age? Child's Play.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was like, he was like, "Oh, watch this movie about a toy," and I was like,
Okay.
"About a murder toy?" Like I was like 8 when he showed me that movie, and I was terrified by it. So yeah,
I
he
know,
did the
that
same.
one's scary.
I'm so glad he did the same thing to you that he did to me.
Yeah.
Going back to Mandy
Sorry, my
Griffin.
phone is at 10%. So if I die, then I'm going to come back on the iPad. But
Zack.
so right now, my favorite horror would probably be The Ritual. Is amazing. I love Ready or Not. It's so good. I could watch that movie every single day of my life.
Is that the one with
s-
Samara Weaving?
Yes.
That one's so
Yes,
good.
it is. So effing good. I love it. Like I've watched it so much, and I could just put it on the background kind of thing. I just love
It's-
it so much.
I
It's so
yeah, I love it
well
also.
done, and the music and the setting, and like, oh, it's just so good. I love
You
it.
ju- when I went to go watch it in the theaters, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. By the end of the film, I was like, I would have never ever seen that coming.
Yeah,
It's really-
yeah. It's just, and I love movies that kind of deal with. I won't give anything away, but the topic that it's dealing
Yeah,
with, like I
definitely.
love movies like that. What's that one called? House of the Devil. That movie is so good.
That one's good.
I
like
love that one.
You know
that
what
deals
film-
with the same thing.
There's a movie that I
And then
haven't
Sleepy
seen.
Hollow, I love.
Oh, Sleepy Hollow's good. There's a film
That's
that I
one of my
haven't
favorites.
seen that's on probably everyone's list of scariest movies they've ever seen. It's called Witch. It's on Netflix.
Okay,
I've
is it
seen
The
it.
Witch or Witch?
I think it's just Witch, and like the logo is like 2 V's. Oh my gosh, what was that?
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Dean had some
that's
photos
The Witch. I think.
for
Oh
us
my
to-
god, scared the
Dude,
hell out of me.
okay, yeah,
So-
I just remembered it as we're talking about this. Did it pop up or no?
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for you to preface
Hold
it
on,
before you
hold on,
show
let's-
people.
Yeah,
Before-
just,
before we move-
whenever Karen's done talking.
before?
No,
we-
I'm done. I'm done.
Sorry, I was trying to do it in
My
the
phone might
background,
die,
but
though.
StreamYard switched
Yeah,
over.
she's worried her phone's gonna die.
Oh, do you want
Yeah.
to plug it in, or we can?
Well, I
She's gonna
can't
go to
because
her
I'm using
iPad.
the headphones.
Oh,
Oh.
damn it! iPhone, Apple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. So, but I'm getting my iPad ready. So if I cut out, I'll come back on.
Okay,
the iPad.
sweet. Yeah, just use the same link.
So really quick before we go to Dean's picture, I had said that I wanted to ask a second question. So the second question is, what is the most terrifying movie you've ever seen? Now, for me, obviously, I love Halloween, but it's not scary. Like, I mean, it's terrifying, yes, but
Oh,
I can
know
name
mine.
I can name one movie that I've seen that I remember watching in the theaters and my mouth was open, so I could not believe what I was watching. And someone said it here in the comments earlier, Hereditary. That movie, I hadn't seen a trailer. I had heard the buzz. I didn't know what it was about. Me and my wife now we went to go see it, and I'm not going to give anything away, but maybe 45 minutes into the movie, something happens where it's terrifying.
I know what you're talking about. I really enjoyed that movie.
Oh my goodness!
I still haven't seen that
It's
one. I've
really
seen
good.
Midsommar, but I haven't seen Hereditary.
Yeah, I haven't
I
seen
need to
Midsommar
watch
yet.
it.
I think Karen will love it.
I think Karen will really love
it's
Hereditary.
right up your
Yeah.
alley. It
Yeah.
is
It's just I haven't had a
perfect.
chance where like Lenore would run in the room, so I was like, because I know that it has imagery that like my 5-year-old cannot run in the room.
Oh,
for it.
I mean, I still think about it every now and then because I love it because when I was watching it in the theater, I just remember the theater experience. Like everyone just like sucked up the air and nobody made noise. It was
Oh wow.
one of the most uncomfortable I've ever been ever.
Yep. Same thing happened to
I'll
me
watch
in
it
my
now.
theater experience as well with that one.
Yeah, and then from that point on, from 45 minutes on, it's completely it's wild. It's like I've only seen it twice, and that's probably all I can stomach, honestly.
Same. I saw it in the theater and then I saw it once after it came out, like it was released on digital or something. I rented it and I don't even think I made it all the way through the second time because I was like watching it by myself.
Oh, no. Yeah, that film is extremely smart. Like you have to pay attention, like because right when the movie starts, it plants
like
seeds. It's like,
Yeah. And it also seems like a different movie than it is.
oh my god, oh my goodness, I am getting chills just talking about it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it.
Dean, what about you?
Man, honestly, and it's really not that scary of a movie, but I just remember having like an actual panic attack watching it. World War Z.
Oh, the zombie.
The scene where he's
Yeah.
getting the vials of he's trying to like get a vial of something.
It's
he's
a
in
virus, a live virus.
Yeah, and he's like in this lab surrounded by zombies, and like everything's just like really quiet, and like he only has like one shot or he's gonna die. And I just remember like not being able to breathe watching it. Like,
It's really intense.
oh my god, it was terrifying. But like the movie itself was like more of an action movie than a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just that was like the only thing I could remember where I was like physically uncomfortable
watching. Mhm. What about you, Susan?
It's really dumb. Like the scariest movie that like I remember that I know is still like it still scares me to this day is The Pit and the Pendulum with Vincent Price because I remember how much it scared me as a kid and I still like go back to that place.
Right.
So that movie and then also the other one that's really dumb that scared me so much was Mama.
Oh, that movie is horrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
It was that movie. It's that two shot of the hallway in the bedroom where you see the kid playing and you know there's only one other person in the house and then the other person in the house walks down the hall so the kid can't possibly be playing with the person in the house.
Yeah.
That shot was like just done. Nope. Like so those two like so The Pit and the Pendulum and Mama scared me so much.
Pendulum's scary.
Karen, what about you?
I would say It Follows.
I love
That's
Good movie.
That's a great movie.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. But the first time I saw it, like I was so freaked out. Like And it was like, and it's like, I was like married. There's like no way that it would like affect me. But it was just like, I kept looking, like expecting to see like the giant dude, like,
Oh my God, the giant
running up the
so
stairs.
bad.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, that movie, it's so good. I've seen it like 20 times after that and it doesn't scare me now. But the first time I saw it freaked me out so much.
On that movie, one of the scenes that I absolutely adore is when that person is, I think they're like taking a class and they just look to the side and you see the old
lady.
Yeah, and then like, it's nothing. And then again, you just see them coming and coming. It's like, it's so,
I know.
It's so bad.
And yeah, anytime someone like walked at me after that, I was like running away. Like, it was so scary.
I'd run straight to Dean's house if that was following me. So
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, well, you know, you have to do to get it. You can pass it along. Just...
Dean, we have to do some dirty things to pass it.
You have to play adult hide and seek to pass it.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the scariest moments ever. This movie itself is pretty scary, but it's not like that horrifying. It's called Grave Encounters.
Ooh,
Don't watch the sequel.
Yeah.
The sequel is awful. But after I finished watching it, so I was living with Victoria, my wife now, then my girlfriend, and she was out of town with her parents, like just doing whatever. And so I was like, my roommate was graduated, and then my other roommate was with his girlfriend, so pretty much home alone. And we were watching that movie at a friend's house, and someone texted me, and they're like, "Your house is a mess," and like number that I didn't know, and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Well, I'm here. I'm waiting for you." And like just kept sending text messages, which like through the filter of me being horrified from this movie, plus being alone, plus like having no one with me, and having these potential creepy person at my house was just horrifying. And yeah, I think it was probably looking for a booty call or something, like maybe had the wrong number, but they were trying to hook up with somebody. But it was horrifying in the context that I was in, and eventually you found out it was the wrong number. But for like an hour, I was like heart pounding, like sweating, like who the fuck is at my house?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's awful.
Before we move on, Dean. Dean already said World War Z. One more. I just want to throw one more in there. The Exorcist. That movie.
Dude, hell yeah, it's a good movie.
Good. So scary. Especially when
my mom said people would like pass out watching that movie when it came out.
Yeah. Another movie that they had a theater like a warning was The Conjuring, and I love The Conjuring.
I love
The great one. I love that.
The second one is really good too.
The second one's good too. The Annabelle was not so good.
So good.
Yeah.
The Annabelle that is the most recent one, I watched it like at the start of the quarantine, and I was surprised that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Annabelle,
like
which one's that one? Creation or Comes Home?
Creation, yeah. It's
Creation.
The one with the coins. It has the entity with the coins in the eyes.
Oh,
I was like,
that's right. You told me about that one.
Yeah.
The beginning of that movie really threw me off. Like I didn't think that they were going to go like that.
Yeah.
Eric says the Fourth Kind and The Ritual made me feel creeped out. The most thriller film I've seen was The House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh God, yeah, all the Rob Zombie movies are like, I'll watch them
Rob
all.
Zombie's Halloween.
Danny,
this is a good question for Karen and I.
Yes,
Karen and I grew up in NorCal, and
we have a ghost story about the Winchester Mystery House.
An actual.
I totally forgot about.
I totally forgot about it until just now too.
Yeah.
Danny Lee asked the good question.
Do you guys want to take a quick break, really quick, and we'll get right back into that?
Yeah, that we can switch to your laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
We'll take a quick intermission, a few minutes, and then we'll get right back to it.
Cool. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it was getting so dark in this room right now. I couldn't figure out how the stupid iPad gets brighter.
One thing I want to ask Susan when we come back also is like, I know in our first episode we talked a lot about like our local horror stories, and maybe if you guys can talk about some of the ones from Hawaii. I think they said you guys grew up there, like maybe.
Yeah, there's a cool one.
We're from NorCal. We grew up there and we still live there, so like it's a big we have lots of NorCal stories, but also our mom is like one of 7, and so we have stories. We have stories her sisters have told us, like especially when we were kids. There's definitely like we have Pele, whose Pele is I guess the Hawaiian equivalent of kukui.
Yeah.
because it's like if you, late at night, like Pele will come into your room,
Nope.
and yeah, she's actually like the goddess of the volcano, and so like if you make her angry, like if you aren't good, Pele will get angry and she'll come into your room.
Did you? I guess that's maybe a regional Hawaiian thing.
I mean, I don't know. That's just what we were told by our aunties when we were kids.
What island was that?
Oahu.
Okay, I was gonna ask you about the. It's like the soldiers in the hill or the mountains.
The soldiers in the mountains of Oahu.
Yeah, there's like this
There's
like
a huge graveyard up there that
yeah.
all the veterans of like it's a veterans graveyard that's up there. It's huge and it's built in the like cavern of a dormant volcano. So you have to go all the way up into it.
I think that's where
it's crazy. And there's a point where you're driving up that you can see a hanged soldier. I've never seen it.
Ugh,
yes.
so
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I went.
Yeah.
I never saw it, but
I mean, there's a point where you're driving and actually we go to that cemetery every time. Well, actually, I don't know if Karen does because Karen actually goes to Hawaii way more often than I do. But one of our aunties who passed away is buried up there because my uncle is military, so they had plots in the veteran cemetery. So we would have to drive all the way up to the like. I don't know, what are the mouth? It's like the mouth of the dormant volcano.
Yeah, it's almost like a state park. Like you get out and then walk the rest of the way.
You can't, the cemetery portion, you can drive into the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I didn't go to that part, but where we went, it was like you could park your car and then like you could walk. There's like a cliff face with like a plaque that you could read. And then there's like a little bamboo forest you could walk into, and then there was like an actual park. It was wild though, but yeah, I heard those stories too when I was over there.
Yeah,
I never saw
Karen's having problems. It's saying that she doesn't have a camera on her iPad, but she's like, I use my iPad for Zoom meetings all the time.
She can do audio only because I think you can say that you don't want to use a camera.
You can.
Yeah, you have to grant permissions to the app, or not the app. But...
Unless she has a wireless charger, where she can charge her phone.
I don't think she does.
Dude, Zach, did you look at that picture?
It says it's not letting her back in at all. It directs her to the help center.
Is she going through the link on Facebook, or is she entering the link into Safari?
I don't know. I texted her the link, so it's whatever.
Oh, okay. I'm almost thinking maybe she wants to try going in through Facebook. Like if she uses Facebook to Facebook message it.
I don't know how she knows how to. If she knows how to do that.
Okay, so we're having some technical difficulties.
Almost.
What's that? The Mark 50?
Dude,
with
that's
a broken
so
arm.
expensive. $200 for that, dude? Fuck that, dude.
It's just the arm. My RoboCop's
yeah, it's just got Thanos to me.
I know.
You could give me that for my birthday.
Okay.
Oh, we're not live. Okay. So what Karen's saying is when she clicks the link, it says like we're going to check your camera and microphone, like the normal thing. And then when she clicks that, it says you don't have one set up. Is it possible it's not plugged in? Can you go through your laptop?
Yeah, because she could do it on a laptop and then just not have a camera.
That's fine. She doesn't have headphones for her laptop.
That's fine.
Yeah, come back on the laptop.
Yeah, because Dean's not using headphones, and I think StreamYard is cutting out the echo. Like
in Facebook? Yeah, you can send it. Okay, I'll send it to you in Facebook Messenger.
A
Yeah, I know you don't. I know. We'll wrap it up. Okay, we'll wrap it up. Okay, bye. Bye. She says she only has about 20 minutes left too.
That's perfect.
We could save those pictures for a different episode.
Just
Okay.
put them on the background.
It's
Nah.
creepy. My friend took this picture, and the reflection is like the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Because
Here, I'll put
like,
it up.
I want
I'll
to
put
see
it
it.
up.
she took a picture of her sister, but it like focuses on the window. Can you make that bigger?
Oh shit.
Yeah, look at that thing. Oh my god.
Dean.
Yeah,
looks-
it's creepy, right? It's on her Facebook.
Wait.
Like,
That like almost looks fake.
Hold on, I'm gonna show Marissa.
Hang on, let me hang on.
That gave me
it's
goosebumps.
one of the freakiest things I've ever seen.
Look, Dean, your sister, right? Look, that's Dean's sister, but look at the background.
That
It looks like it's like holding a
looks
baby.
fake.
It looks like a skeleton almost, like skeleton
Yeah.
hands like holding. That's so scary.
Because it's like, why did it not focus on the sister? And then you like look at the window and it's like, what in the fuck is that? It's creepy.
Ooh, Dean.
Dude, that should be the episode artwork right there.
Hell no, I ain't gonna edit that. You can edit it. I ain't touching that
Nope.
pic. Mm-mm.
It looks like a ghoul with like no nose. And then it's
Yeah.
like, it has like a baby in like
Hey,
a
Karen.
shawl.
Oh, I made it back.
That's so
All right.
scary.
Okay, Manny, let's go.
All right. So you guys mentioned that y'all have a story regarding the Winchester Mystery House.
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Go for
Karen.
it, Susan.
No, I was gonna say you actually should tell it because I was actually in the pictures, and this is what happened. Like you had. Anyway, you go.
Well, I mean, I enjoy going to haunted places, and so I don't know. Didn't I like begged you to take
Yeah,
me?
because I could drive and you couldn't.
Yeah, and so yeah, I couldn't drive yet, and so you were like, okay, and so you decided to take me down to the Winchester Mystery House, and you know, I wanted to see if I could catch a ghost, so I was taking lots and lots of pictures, and this was
before digital cameras. So these
Yeah,
are pictures
it
on
was
film.
disposable. Yeah, it was a disposable camera. And you know, so it's like a few days before you actually get to look at the pictures. And you know, nothing really of interest happened while we were there. We just went on the tour, except that I like tried to talk to the tour guide about ghosts, and she got all weird with me and was like, she's like, we don't talk about our experiences because it takes away from the historical aspect of the house. And I was like, but the historical aspect is ghosts.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't understand what that means, but okay. And so then we developed the pictures, and you know, I took the pictures, so they were all pictures of my sister in different parts of the house, and every single picture of my sister, her face is whited out, like there's a white mist over it, and we're just like, what the? And there might have been like one picture of me that
there was one that was of you the same way, and then there were two where you could see my face, but I had like a halo of orbs that was like around, like an arch over my head.
Like there was weird stuff going on in every single picture, just around whatever person was in the picture, and it was white and misty in every picture.
Mm-hmm. Every single picture.
And what's the significance of this house? Like,
Oh, you don't know about this house, man?
The Winchester Mystery House, Sarah Winchester, after her husband died, she inherited the fortune from Winchester Rifles, and
Millions of dollars.
like so much money back then. And what she did with the money is she had like a dream, a vision, something happened where she, like, these ghosts told her that she needed to like atone for the deaths of the people who were killed by her rifles. And in order to do that, she needed to continue to build a house. And if she wasn't building the house, these ghosts were going to come in and like
get her
essentially. So she made this house into like a weird trap for these ghosts, so that way they couldn't get her. So there's like staircases that lead to nowhere. There are doors that open and there's just a drop off. Like
it's literally a trap house.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah, there's like hundreds of rooms, hundreds of bathrooms. Like it's just like a massive mansion.
Like that. It's
can
crazy.
you imagine having that much money, just make a house for nowhere?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's wild.
that's a crazy story around that house. And then yeah, Karen just begged me to take her as soon as I could drive, essentially.
Wow.
That's so cool. Yeah, because on the first episode of this podcast, we talked about San Antonio just has like a lot of urban legends and like I don't want to say significant, but like locations that like every story has an actual location in.
Well, you have the Alamo.
So it's cool to hear about like a different, part of the country.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the Alamo. You have the Alamo.
Yeah.
Have you guys
did
ever?
anything weird happen at the Alamo? I don't think anyone's reported.
I mean,
A
a bunch of
massacre?
people
A lot of
died.
people died.
No, I meant like if you're walking
Yeah, I mean, it's
across
apparently
the
Dean
Alamo
doesn't
at
remember
night,
the
nothing
Alamo.
weird.
Oh, yeah, you're supposed to remember the Alamo.
I remember
damn it,
the
Dean.
Alamo. Okay, I'm from Texas.
Give me your
pretty-
Texas card. Click,
I'm
click.
pretty sure if you go to like Alamo personnel, they can tell you. Isn't there like
Oh, that's true.
what is it called, that hotel that's like right across, that's like one of the most haunted houses,
Yep.
haunted motels,
Gunter or
yeah, where there's like
Yeah.
gargoyles and stuff on the
Yeah,
outside.
it's the one that's like when you're at the Alamo, there's like the Ripley's, believe it or not, and then it's across from the Ripley's.
Yes.
yeah, it's on Houston Street.
Yes.
It's,
Yeah.
Houston Street.
My sister knows the name of it. She'll
I
probably
like
pop
San
it.
Antonio a lot. It's a
You
great.
are welcome to come to our studio anytime. If you and Zachary are ever in town, it'd be awesome to do a live show with you guys.
That would be pretty awesome.
Karen too. She needs to come to San Antonio so we can go to the
We
Donkey
can all watch
Lady
Hereditary.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Or that too. Yeah.
I've actually, the only time I've been to Texas was I like went to the airport and, and then got on another plane. But I would love to.
Dude,
Yeah,
that'd be
so
a good episode
if-
of Creeps.
If you guys haven't listen to CREEPSRUS episode 1. That's when we dig into like the urban legends of San
There's a
Antonio.
lot. We talk about a lot of stuff.
And then the lights go off randomly.
Yeah, it was creepy. We were just like talking about like creepy stuff, and then the lights surged off.
That's right.
And we asked the guy who owned the apartment, like, dude, did that happen ever? And he's like, that never happens. Because it
Whoa.
literally never
That's
happened since
cool.
I lived here.
That's
It
so
was
creepy.
weird.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, I think that does it for this episode. I thought we were only going to go for 20 minutes, but
I know,
You
that
guys
was
are
great.
fun to talk to.
yeah, that was fun. We should do it again. We should all link up. Anything else?
I was gonna say we can't. They asked me during the intermission about Hawaiian urban legend stories. So I guess we have to come back on and tell all of Auntie Bev's stories.
Oh my God.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be amazing.
I really like that stuff.
Yeah.
We're into that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is one of the most active chats I've ever seen. So we'll definitely
I
have you
know.
guys on the
Is
chat
it really? I
again.
haven't
Yeah.
looked.
It's been
Anything-
pretty crazy.
Really paranormal.
Oh, damn.
Right up my alley.
Totally.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you so much for having me. I
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you guys for having.
That was fun.
Yeah, you guys gave me goosebumps.
Ooh.
All right, guys. We'll definitely see y'all later. Again, my name is Manny.
I'm Susan.
Karen.
Zach.
Dean,
And we'll catch y'all on the next episode.
bye.
True.